All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tyler Ross with the Grind and the Good Times podcast. This is episode 001. We've done some little promos, me and my daughter, Miss Everly, as she likes to be called. But this is our first one with guests, and I'm a little bit nervous, just to be honest. They say they're a little bit nervous, but before he is both of them are IBO and ASA world champion archers. It is a family tradition. I think your wife shot too, didn't she?
Yes.
So it has been a lot. So I have Mr. Larry Odell and Cody Odell and Hudson here today in the studio. My co-host Blake, he's hammering down on the camera today, making sure we look and sound good and all that. But man, I really am honored. We're neighbors. I think we're distant family, and I've known you most of my life, and it's been great getting to know you, getting to get advice from you, spend money in your shop. I mean, that's probably my favorite thing. But this is Larry Odell. And he is, man, he's just been a role model in my life, like I said. But I wanted to ask him a few questions today, and Cody and Hudson. He's 16. He's up and coming in the sport. And but my first question is not even really going to be about the shop or Odell's, but when you and Yvonne first got married, what was your line of work? Where did you work at?
I cleaned up used automobiles.
Cleaned up automobiles, okay. What led to you having a passion or a love for archery? Was it hunting or just you and your dad, or how did that come about?
Well, I was on a gun hunt at Kenny Beach Management area, and this guy was down there, and he was shooting a bow. And I went over there and asked him, could I shoot it? And he said, yeah. So he let me shoot it, and I've been shooting archery ever since.
Well, it's easy to get hooked on, for sure. I think how I got my very first bow, I was probably 14, and a guy at church came, and he's like, I'm giving you this bow. And I'm like, well, I never even shot a bow, you know. And it was Jennings youth bow, and that's when I guess me and you become pretty close. I started spending most of my afternoons and summers hanging out at the shop. I know it's a whole family affair. And when did you start shooting? I guess like competition wise. What age was you probably?
That's probably in my early 30s.
Okay, so you started about where I'm at now, probably. How did Yvonne go about you falling in love with this sport?
Well, she really enjoyed it herself, so it was easy for me because she enjoyed it as much as I did. So it was real easy for us to, go practice and go to tournaments and shoot.
Well, so when y'all shot tournaments. I guess Cody was probably pretty young. He wasn't shooting yet when he first started.
Cody, I remember when Cody was shooting wearing diapers.
So he was Robin Hooding it from way back. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there separate groups for, I guess, men and women in the tournaments you and Yvonne shot?
Yes.
Okay.
The women shot in the women class and the men shot in the men class.
Well, did she ever? She's not here, so. Did she ever outshoot you?
One or two times.
Well, hey, at least you're honest. I don't like shooting guns with Brandy because if we lined up and just shot rifles at a target, she's probably going to be closer 8 out of 10 times. And with a pistol too. She's deadly with a pistol. If she pulls a pistol on you, you better just go ahead and hope you're ready to meet the maker. I mean, but when you started shooting competitive, how long was it before you said, "All right, I'm ready to step up and take on the world"?
Well, I'd been shooting the BHAs,
Yeah.
Bow Hunters of Alabama. And there was a guy named Matt McPherson. He come up and hunted with me, and he's got it on the McPherson bows at that time.
Okay.
And he seen how well I shot, and he asked me would I be interested in shooting the IBO's tournament. And we had to have 3 people to make a team up.
Okay.
So we got Jackie Cottle and Jim Cleveland out of Georgia. And
Was y'all shooting a McPherson bow at that time?
We were shooting a McPherson bow.
Okay. All right. Is that what you started with, or did?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, I started with the old timey bear.
I figured bear
Yeah.
has to be an original for somebody. Mine was Jennings, but Jennings wasn't owned by Bear, was it?
Well, what happened? Mr. Jennings, something happened, and Bear bought Jennings out, so they named it Bear Jennings.
I thought there was something to do with Jennings and Bear, but I wasn't sure if I was lucky enough to say I started out with a bear. But everybody that knows archery knows the great Fred Bear is definitely the legend in the archery hunting world. But I've got some notes over here that's, gosh, they're really scribbled down. But here I am trying to read my chicken scratch. When did you start Odell's archery shop?
Oh, man, Lord. About 45 years ago.
So it's been, how old are you, Cody?
Well, it's been 36 because I'm 48, and I was 12
when y'all broke the
11,
ground?
because we were still hunting Kennebush when I killed my first year at 11.
Yeah.
You didn't have the shop, so it would have been 37 years ago now.
Okay. And it being a full family affair, made, I guess, opening those doors and stopping the cleanup shop and all that, and it just made it easy to do.
Yep.
When you opened the doors then, was you sponsored by McPherson, or have you moved on at that time?
Well, when I opened the doors, I was actually sponsored by McPherson.
Okay.
And
Well,
then,
that's news to me. See, I didn't know that about you, I don't think, which is pretty cool. Was McPherson an Alabama native? Is he?
no, Matt McPherson is the guy that invented the McPherson bows and the Matthews bows.
Oh, so he did come
Yeah,
out.
he's the same person.
He came out with the Matthews, or
McPherson.
and had it from, I forgot, probably 8 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And he sold the company. Well, he signed a contract that he would never invent another bow as long as the bow was in Wisconsin. And then it got sold, and they moved it to Alabama. So that's how McPherson got to the, I guess, a native of
Mr.
Alabama.
McPherson is from Wisconsin?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that opened him up to open the Matthews. And as soon as he did that, we had a break in there where we actually went and shot for Bear Jennings in high country archery. And then when Matt came out with the Matthews, we went back into the Matthews.
Well, that's, man, when I was young, I didn't know a lot about this. Obviously, I'm learning a lot today, but I probably, gave those McPherson guys down the road for shooting McPherson and didn't even know it was basically the same thing. I think my father-in-law might have shot a McPherson, and I was like, maybe one day you can step up to a Matthews. But boy, I feel, about this big right now, but I guess it's part of knowing the history. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Has there ever been any regrets on opening the shop?
No.
Just been
No regrets whatsoever.
I mean, I'm self-employed too. It's a little bit different, but I don't have regrets in being self-employed. But when I was doing tree work, man, that was a job. I mean, tree work is work. I don't know if anybody's just cut trees much, or maybe cut one down in your yard. I called Ross Brothers, but they were too high, so I'm gonna do it myself. And then they'll call Ross Brothers back and either have you clean it up or say, "Boy, I wish I'd have just paid you that $1,200." But I had bad luck after I graduated. And the reason I say that is because when I was still in school, we'll just go ahead and get this story out of the way. I guess it was my senior year. It was my senior year. Maybe it was spring, so it was the end of my junior years when I turned in a a paragraph. My ag teacher came up to me, asked me, "Hey, Tyler, you want to be a professional hunter, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, write a paragraph about how archery has inspired you and changed your life and what it means to you." He said, "Just, 5 to 7 sentences." And he said, "If you win, you get to go on a video deer hunt in Illinois." And I was like, "Okay." Well, I wrote it, and no telling how many. It was with Tim Strickland, which was the Olympic archery coach in the 90s, maybe?
Yes.
See, I wrote it to them, and New Age Outdoors, if I'm not mistaken, was the name of their program. I'm like, man, I should have done a little more research. Yeah, New Age Outdoors. And I wrote that and then found out later that I had been selected down to 12. And out of those 12, you want a bow. And I'd told you about, hey, I've wrote a letter. I'm trying to be a professional hunter, whatever, outdoorsman. And I'm probably at your shop, 3 days a week back then? Yeah. I mean, realistically, it's me and Hank and Adam, all of us was just, if school was out, we was probably over there. And the whole time for a few months probably?
Yeah, several months.
Several months. I got to about kill somebody to hold a secret that big of, I want a bow. And I know that, but you also not only know that, but you know that I've already won the hunt. And you can't say nothing. And you're like, I ate lunch with Tim and his wife. And they're like, some guy from Alabama won the hunt. And you're like, well, who? And then they say Tyler Ross. And I guess y'all were probably as floored as I was when I found out the information. But y'all kept it together.
Yeah, Tim, after we told him that you did business with us and everything, he said, well, do not let him know that he's won this. And I said, we'll keep it a secret. So we kept it a secret till they let you know.
I'm surprised you or Wavon wasn't like, look, y'all going to have to hurry up and let this out of the bag because we've already seen him 5 times this week and it's Tuesday. And we close on Mondays. I mean, we got to get him out of here and tell him something. So, but then, I'm pretty sure y'all were my first stop to tell the news. And y'all both was just looked at each other and y'all, we know. And I'm like, I think Mom probably came with me over there. And it's like, how did you know? And then you're like, well, we was just y'all was out of town, I think, if I'm not mistaken, eating with them or at an archery competition maybe. I don't even remember. That was 15-ish years ago when I was in school. So I was like, well, just, it was, I was so on cloud 9 and like, well, we know, we've known for 3 months. So it's not even a surprise anymore. We've been, every time we see you, we think about it and we're tired of seeing you. But it was fun. I did get to go up there and hunt and killed a doe, stuck a buck, but we shot him high and back and never found him. But y'all, kudos to y'all for holding that secret because I don't know if I could have done something like that. What about you, Cody? Could you have held it?
No, well, I could have. Now, you go over to my wife or my son there. No, they can.
They're going to let it out?
They're going to let it out. All you got to do is look at them, ask them one time, and then look at them and ask them again, and just spill the beans.
I don't know if I would have even considered them ever knowing Tim Strickland. I don't know why I didn't think that, but it's like, hey, do you know Tim? Like maybe if I would have replayed and started over, I'm like, do you know Tim Strickland? Yeah. I ate lunch with him the other day. He told me some news about you. But no, I didn't. I just didn't know that, so I didn't know to ask. And
growing up in the archery world, I guess you'd say, it's a real tight family. Everybody looks out for everybody.
Right.
When we shot, if my mom or dad wasn't there, I always had another mom or dad.
Yeah, somebody was watching you. Yeah.
So
right.
It's a close knit sport that, we get Hudson all the time. Now it's 3 years into it, and pretty much everybody knows now.
that he's an Odell and he's here to
upcoming guy. But they all watching that come and they go, hey, look, I seen Hudson out there today. He's shooting like this, and then when he comes, man, I shot a 5 on a target. Oh, I know.
Yeah, I already knew.
So
but as long do you know what you did wrong? Because your other archery mom and dad has already told me what you did wrong. I just want to make sure you know because I'm going to tell you again too. So yeah, that's pretty cool that everybody looks out for each other, and it is competitive, but it's fun. It's fun and friendly and family ran and whatnot. How far are y'all going right now shooting? Do y'all
right
travel?
Now, we start out in Foley, and then we go from Foley to Fort Benning in Georgia, back to Alabama, and then we go from there to Minden, Louisiana, and then from Louisiana to London, Kentucky, but it's tragedy hit with the tornadoes this year. It got canceled, and
and it hadn't got
know
put back
where it's
together
gonna
yet
be for next year.
Well, are you the mentor / coach?
Well, yes, in a way, but I've always coached Cody all of his life,
right?
And since I met Hudson and all that, well, I've really tried to help him out. So they've really done good.
Well, like when I was your age, and I was, out there shooting the targets you made. Wow, they're still around. I don't know if you know that. I don't know the last time you made one of those targets, but people are still shooting those huge, heavy foam targets. But he gave me a target, and it was the one you had. Just you opened your back door right there, and y'all shot right there off the ramp. And you gave me that target, and you said, "I've never shot through this one." And I made it a purpose. I shot every day probably. And I finally made a hole in that target. And then I had to, which it was 3 foot by 3 foot, I guess, or maybe bigger than that. But it has plenty of room, or back then they had plenty of room for you to spray paint another dot on there and put it somewhere else. And I don't know where that target is, but I didn't throw it away. I mean, it's somewhere probably floated off in the creek or all the floods we've had, but I didn't get rid of it. And when I moved and got married, I didn't take it with me. I finally had enough money to I think I bought a block, the 4x4 that had the foam covering was my next real target that I actually was able to afford. But when I grew up, I would go to Larry's, like all my clothes, like everything, except the bow because I want it. And there's still a little bit of regret. And I told him the other day, I said, I've never bought a bow from you. I mean, I got one when I was a kid for free. I won the Matthews Adrenaline. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then I got married and got broke for the probably first 3 years of my marriage. And it was like, I couldn't afford to hunt. And so I was like, man, 2 years ago, I sold that bow, and a little bit of regret because I didn't know I was going to have a son, and I do now. And I would have definitely saved it, whether it would have been any count by the time he got old enough or not. But I want to buy a bow, and I know Cody's helping you a lot. Are you learning in the shop as well? You putting some strings on and tying some loops and all that?
Well, I work in the front a lot, so I'm mainly on the sales side. They let me touch a lot of the arrows I cut and build.
Do some arrow cuttings. That's good. Glue some fletchings on there and whatnot.
I glue my own. I do my veins a lot.
Okay. Well, I know. I said, well, if Larry can't completely fix my bow up, I know Cody can, because you've come along lately. The last several years, and is that the goal? Are you gonna retire?
Well, probably the only time I'll retire is when my toes turn up.
Well, I figured that because of your love for the sport, your love for the outdoors. The whole family is just continuing to just be involved, which has got to be an awesome blessing for you and Yvonne. That just, if you know one Odell, you know all of them because they're there. They're in the business. They're just loving the sport, and they're not only shooting, but we're winning. You know what I mean? I mean, y'all are not just people who own a bow shop that go out and shoot in the backyard, but y'all can help people and y'all can teach people, and they like it. I mean, y'all know, heck, every time I go, I just want to go over there here lately and talk, and I'm like, there's 12 people in here at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. I mean, they not work, you know, but it's just, they love the fact that who you are, how you deal business, how you love the sport, and the good news is it's going to be passed down. And my son's 4 weeks old and some change, so it's going. Maybe he'll be in diapers shooting bows one day, but good news is, you know, Cody or Hudson will be able to tune him a bow up. You know, if he decides one day that's the route he wants to go, and that's just a cool story that I feel like we'll all be able to share, and like just a tradition. I like the tradition, and maybe I can hurry up and, you know, get some sponsors and make $5 an episode so I can buy Matthews from you. I mean, my goodness.
When I get where I can't do the work, me and Cody, we've done worked it out that he's going to take over. So we've got everything planned out and everything.
Well, I know that's. I hope it's a long time, because I know you are moving back to the close by work. I've seen y'all doing a little groundbreaking over there. Yep. Better keep Shannon out over there. He'll be tearing stuff up all the time.
That's the biggest thing right now is keeping him from coming over there. He likes to talk a lot.
Yeah, well, he'll answer the phone, that's for sure. That was one of my favorite things too. Like, since I was 14, I've had your phone number memorized. You don't know that, but 561-3791 is right here. It will be here until my toes turn up. So I know the phone number to Odell's Outdoor Archery by heart. And people's like, why? And I'm like, it's family. You know, I mean, it might be an emergency contact, you know? But no, it's not. I think just Dad and Brandy's my emergency contacts. But back then, they probably, if I would have come up missing, I bet you Mom would have been call Larry and see if Tyler's over there.
Well, Shannon, he answers the phone all the time, but Shannon, he's handicapped.
Yep.
But he did win the Mississippi State Championship one time.
Okay.
And I was always proud of that.
Well, that is a huge accomplishment. I mean, it is an Odell family tradition to be a champion. So, you know, no pressure.
I'm trying.
From what I'm hearing, it's good things. I mean, it seems like it's just right around the corner when you'll be up there with a whole slew of just people looking out for you, supporters, coaches, and I mean, are you wanting to like shoot IBOs and ASAs and all that, or are you just going to want to stay fairly small and focus on other things? I know we talked about NASA just a little bit ago. So is that a route you're probably going to more lean to?
I got both, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
So I shoot the ASAs with Cody, and we're going to start doing some IBOs hopefully this year. And my dream is to go to Texas A&M, and they have one of the best archery teams in the country. And so my dream, well, since I started shooting, was to go pro. And so that's still something I'm chasing. I mean, there's a lot of mental side to archery I'm figuring out. It's a little bit different than I thought it would be. But if I can make this a career, I'll definitely do it. I mean, I love it.
See, and I don't know man, it seems like nowadays with the right sponsors and the right this and that, somewhere money's coming from. I don't know. It ain't made it to this address yet, but it seems like it's out there in all these colleges. I don't know what kind of money's coming into the archery programs at colleges, but that's something I'd like to look into, because you know you might get an NIL contract at Texas A&M shooting bows. I don't know if that's something they're doing or they might do by then if they're not, but that would be pretty cool. Be like, well, I just signed a NIL shooting bows at Texas A&M. But
I can get sponsors now too. So I'm actually sponsored by Shrewd Archery, and then I'm sponsored by the bow shops. I mean, there's sponsorships out there,
right?
The ones that pay you got to be a little bit better than what I've got right now. So
right. Well, that's what I mean. You gotta, but you have that opportunity. I think you're on the right track. Part of me wishes I would have spent a little money and not just focus mainly on shooting like BHA tournaments because that's about all I ever shot. And then because I had a hunting bow, I never crossed over and got the tournament bow, but I wanted to, and I'd always just admire everybody that come in with the stabilizer as long as my leg, and I was like, man. And then the what's in Birmingham every year, the Deer Expo where they shoot.
Yeah.
You know, I'd go down there when I was a kid and I'd watch that and I'd be like, I think I could do that, but now definitely which Larry was in his early 30s when he started, but when I hit 30, I went blind. I can't see nothing, so I've got to wear these glasses now. So I recommend shoot all day, every day that you can, and do it before you're 31ish. I mean, if you still got good eyes at 31, that's great. But I think cell phones is why my eyes are trash. I think I look at my screen too much. I don't even have Snapchat. I mean, golly, I gotta. So, but I wanted to. You said it's been open 36 years, the bow shop. 37 years.
37.
How much change in a bow from the time you opened your shop to right now?
Oh, it's unreal at the change. I mean, it ain't even close to what it used to be. They've improved the bow so much that it's unreal.
Though when I shot that one the other day, I don't even remember what it was called.
It may have been the Lift X.
I think that was it. Yeah. And I remember the switchback, and then the switchback XT, and then maybe an X. Was there an XD?
No,
just an XT.
Yeah.
And that was the switchbacks was just Matthews Catch Us If You Can, solo cams, and are they still solo cam Matthews?
No, they don't make any solo cams now. Most of them are changed into dual cams.
Is that better, or did you like the solo cam better?
Well, I really liked the solo cam. They was real accurate shooting bows, but now they've improved the cam so much that used to a dual cam bow was bad to come out of time, and now they've got the strings and everything built so much better that you don't have no timing problems.
Well, the which one was your favorite? The Matthews. I'm gonna stay on Matthews just because that's more my time. I didn't do McPherson, but I know you did like the switchback a lot back then. But did it stay number one, or did you find something better that you liked?
What happened? Matthews, they sponsored me, and I got a bow every year, so I would be shooting the new bows. So every year it seemed like they improved them.
Right.
So it would be really, really hard to pick out just one bow that you really, really
especially like. When it's just every year your turn. You ain't really getting a whole lot of time to really figure out if you like this one more or that one because you turn around and get a new one, I guess. Because
they improved them every year.
Right.
So every time they improved them, it was hard to just pick out a bow that you really liked. But really, probably the Z7 was
I heard a lot of good about it.
Yeah.
I remember when the DXT came out and it was like just, like 20 something inches limb to limb. And, I like the shorter top bow as far as looks. I never got one or shot one, but I really liked that. But then I feel like they were close. Like the switchback was here and then maybe the next year they just cut it in half or something. It might have been a few years there, but it went from a pretty good sized bow in your hand to almost halfway, the next time it come around. So I always thought that was pretty cool how they did that. And how did you feel about that one?
The DXT, actually, I put new strings on one today.
Was it yours?
No, it belonged to another man, and he's had it for years.
Yeah, they're probably 12 years or so, maybe like 13. I still remember a lot about the bows in my time, but I don't know nothing about what's out there now.
But the newer bows now, especially the Lift X and the Lift, they've really, really improved the bows. They don't have hardly any recoil. You don't hardly feel it.
It was so smooth the other day.
Yeah.
I enjoyed shooting it, and really I was like, whew. I'm gonna have to come up with that money now. I mean, I've been over here. I've got half a kidney getting ready to get sold right now. So I can buy a bow over there at the shop.
It seems like every year that they seem like they've reached their limit. That how are they going to improve this? And then next year they'll come out with something.
Just something small, but it's a big change.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask this too. Like, did you always you have to return the previous bow, or how did that work? It was yours?
No, it was my bow. But if we wanted to, we could return it back to the factory, and they would give it to maybe somebody that needed one or couldn't afford to buy it.
Okay.
And they was really good about it.
Okay, that's a cool program to have. Did you return most of yours, or do you still have some on the shelf?
No, I've got the 27th bow that Matthews made in the shop, and I've kept it because actually at the time they wasn't even selling the bows.
Okay.
So they, I helped them actually do a little work on the bow and tell them a few things that they needed to do to it, and they did, and they just kept on improving.
When you transitioned and McPherson swapped over to Matthews, probably about how long of a gap was you shooting Matthews when you won the IBO World?
Yeah.
Was that a pretty good? Have you been with Matthews a while at that point?
I shot in the pro class for Matthews for probably right at 30 years.
30 years, so almost all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it? Was Matthews? You think like a lot of the reason that you was as good as you was, if you'd have been shooting another bow, do you think it would have, or are they all kind of like NASCAR and almost all the same?
Some bows are actually made better than others, and some bows tune better than others. But, a lot of people can sing, and a lot of people can't. And a lot of people can play a piano, and a lot of people can't.
There's just a handful that can shoot a bow.
And when you get up in the class that we shot, it's just a handful of people like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Basketball. It's just you've got to be talented to it. And I never was talented to shooting. To singing or playing a guitar, but I was talented to shooting a bow.
When you found your gift at your early 30s, you were, most people like Michael Jordan was shooting basketball when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So you started in your 30s and become a world champion in not one but two classes. I mean, that does, in my opinion, say this man had a gift. I mean, because if you start that late, like to me, Hudson, he started at 13.
Right at 13 or 14.
So, I mean, could you imagine that 15-year?
If you started out that young, you could have learned quicker.
Yeah.
And what you have to learn to do in archery, it's more mental than people think. And I never have been a real smart person, but if you make a bad shot, it's like spilt milk. I mean, it's gone.
Yeah.
So the more you think about that shot, the nearer you're gonna come to do it again.
Yeah.
So the quicker you can get it out of your mind, the better off you'll be.
That's great advice because I was always I lacked some confidence, but when I picked up my bow, I felt like I was Robin Hood. But I never shot any big tournaments. But as far as when I would get it dialed in for hunting, we killed a rattlesnake this week at the club.
Yeah, I seen that.
It was pretty good sized rattlesnake. We shot it with a gun. I've ran over a few with a car, but I've seen one rattlesnake bigger. I'm going somewhere with this. I know it seemed like I switched gears, but I'm going. The biggest one I ever seen, it was early season bow hunting, and I was walking down my trail that I'd walked down, 50 times, and it was a 4-wheeler size trail, so it was 4.5 foot wide, whatever, cleaned out, and there that rattlesnake is laying just stretched out across the whole trail. And at this point in my archery hunting life, I didn't miss. It didn't matter if it was I had killed chipmunks, I had killed little brown tweet birds. if I could see it, I was killing it. And I looked at that snake, and I looked at my bow. I remember. I mean, it was like it was yesterday. I looked down at my bow, and I was like, huh. And I was by myself, you know. So I was like, if I miss, I can't just knock an arrow that fast and be on him again if he's mad, you know. So I looked at him one more time, and I made a new trail through the woods. So I guess it's easy to maybe lose a little bit of confidence in certain situations. Mine was with a rattlesnake. I did miss a doe one time. I'd been practicing. I'd got some new arrows from you. And this is an embarrassing story, and this is a rookie mistake. Don't ever do this. But I had been practicing at home, and I had to adjust my sight. And I got it right. But for some reason, I'd forgot to do the final tight down on my sight. And I get out there in the woods, bebop all the way out there, and I hunted on the ground this day. I was just sitting on a tree stump. And I think it was just a pretty good size nanny doe comes walking up, you know. And I was doe hunting, really. We was you know, needing some meat. And perfect 25 yards broadside. She's right there. I draw back. And when I let go, the arrow was 10 feet over her back. And I looked at my bow, and when I did, the sight hit the ground. And I was like, what? I thought it broke. I was hoping that it broke, you know, like, what just happened? And then you look at it and you're like, my gosh, I didn't tighten that Allen screw back up. And I've got a whole set. I've probably had 1,000 of those Allen wrench, you know, little combo tool sets. And I probably had one in my pocket right then. But when I did that and I saw it, I never looked for the arrow. I mean, I don't know how far it went. I hope it didn't kill nobody. That was 20 years ago. I didn't hear of anybody getting stuck by an arrow. But I was embarrassed. I was disappointed. And then I had to come back home and completely restart, you know. I mean, from basically like it was a new sight because I had to put it back on. But man, I've done some dumb stuff, but I never did shoot big tournaments. I wish I would have a little bit. I probably would have got started in shooting tournaments. Felt like I was getting good at it, and then like I said, we got married, it's not a knock to my marriage or nothing, but we just didn't have a lot of money. I mean, we both worked, but once our bills were paid, and we really didn't have a lot of debt. I mean, when my grandpa died, we got his truck and I drove it, so I didn't have a car payment or nothing like that. But I could imagine I would have been upset more if I would have had a pretty expensive bow sitting there just not getting to be used. But when y'all shot your big tournaments and y'all still shoot, your top 10 shooters, is it usually about the same 10, top 10 every tournament?
It is. When we actually, this is Fort Hudson, when we traveled, probably at the time, when we shot local tournaments, we shot against the best that we shot at all the national tournaments. At the time that Dad and myself was in it really big, we had 8 pro shooters that was in a 30-mile radius of where we live.
Okay.
So even on our practice, when we didn't have a big tournament, when we went to the local tournaments,
Y'all was
it was
shooting big
still
tournaments.
shooting against those. So you did like the day's time we've got in the men's limited or open pro, pretty much in the last 3 years, 4 years, or 15 years, you've got one guy that's pretty much dominant, Levi Morgan.
He's just hammering everybody.
A machine. Now we've got some newcomers that's coming in, and this year's been a little different. But normally it'd be like, okay, well, we're going to go shoot for second. Levi's going to win.
Levi's got, it's kind of like skeet shooting down there in Sneed. I think there's 1 or 2 names that if they pull up.
But, you got Levi, Dan. One of those two in the last 14 years is going to be shooter of the year or win the world.
Well, that's pretty cool, but are they still like as far as when y'all shooting now, or is most of them still your local like Alabama guys?
It's not.
Okay.
Like any given when we were shooting when I was younger with Dad, any given day you could have Jackie win, you could have Shannon Cottle win, you could have Pete Works win, you could have Daddy win. It wasn't just a set part. It was
right.
just,
it was a little bit more of a mixed bag.
Right.
And to me, it would have been more fun that way. Like there's no way I see exactly what you're talking about. Like we're going this week, and like when I played softball, we've played against each other a little bit in softball. Did I win every time?
Y'all won every time, you know?
But I'm like, when we play this team, it's like we're gonna play our best, but let's not be mad at ourselves because 4 of them play on conference teams, or 6 of them play on conference teams, and we're a low end team that 8 of y'all's never even played softball before. So let's just not. But then if we score a few runs, it was always good. So I guess if you're close to Levi, you might feel good. But still, I think I would rather say we don't know if Dad's going to win or if I'm going to win or if these other 4 is going to win. That to me, that would be more of a fun shoot. But it would definitely be a little disheartening knowing that Levi's going to win. So.
It made us, on that end now. I had one in my Joseph Goza, which is a local guy, just up Flat Rock. Well, he dominated our class. It's just like everything. But your goal is like, I'm beating Joseph this time. And he had a run not quite as good as Levi in the limited pro class that I shot in, but it was one of those. He was going to be there.
Well, I found out over the years back when I was shooting really good, there was probably 10 shooters that any day they could beat you. And I've always said what old Jerry Reed used to say: when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not.
That's right.
And you'd have them.
You're gonna have bad days.
Yeah, you'd have them days that seemed like you couldn't do nothing wrong, and then there'd be them days that it just wouldn't work out for you.
Right. Well, I know I would shoot a lot with my best friend, and he had a barn that it was pretty long. And when time changes and you work, you got to figure out how to shoot in the dark or have a lighted course or. And he said, "Hey, we can get a 50-yard shot in the barn." And I'm like, "I don't think we can." He said, "We'll set the target up in the barn and we'll go stand outside." And I'm like, "How we going?" And Nate, I do remember some little screw lights that would go over your sight back then. Yeah, I think I had one of them. But then we were just, at that point, we would just hold a light for each other and shoot. And I said, we would take bets. But if you could outshoot somebody basically in the dark, me and him was too that was just me and him. But I remember drilling it at 50 yards, right in the black. And he's like, he was better than me at everything. But then when it come to archery, that was where he knew I would have my bad days, but he always knew he was probably not going to shoot a 50 and I might shoot a 49 or a 50 and he would shoot a 43 or 45. But, we just played around like that. Me and him never really shot tournaments. We practiced together every day.
I'll never remember the first deer that I shot at with a bow and arrow. I mean, it'll be in my mind till I pass away. He was a real nice 8-pointer, and I didn't shoot over him. I didn't shoot under him. But I shot about 10 yards in front of him, and I shake him.
The buck fever is way better of a reason, I think, to miss than not tighten your sight down.
I mean, it hit me. I absolutely believe the tree was shaking that I was in.
Well, I showed you some pictures of, a few deer on the camera this week when I was at the shop. But I haven't been deer hunting like I used to be in Averly's 8. I think I've took her on one little deer hunt, and she had on pink sweatpants. So I was over there trying to figure out how to hide her really more. So that's how. But I haven't killed a deer in probably 10 plus years. So I told him the other day, I said, I really got in this club to shoot turkeys. But I'm going to shoot a deer maybe. I'm just going to try to not get the buck fever like I did when I was 13, because back then it was bad. The very first deer hunt I went on, I took a 410 with a slug. Shane, my uncle, carried me, and it was me, Dad, and Avery, and then Shane went to his tree stand, and we took a blanket that looked like your great grandmother stitched up, and was red and black, and I was like, what is this? We didn't know no better, and I don't even remember what I was wearing, but it was so cold. I remember it was a real heavy frost, so we just knew we didn't have a lot of hunting clothes, so we was just using whatever we could. And Dad had a 12 gauge with a slug, and I had a 410 with a slug. So that's how, big time deer hunters we were. And 7 does just walked right there and stopped. And Dad's like, "Can you shoot it?" And I said, "I don't know." and I remember holding that 410. It was a Rossi 410 that swapped into a 22, little combos back then. And I remember holding that thing, and I was shaking so bad. And they were all literally looking at me. And the lead doe was just blowing. Just looking and just blowing. And Dad's like, "Shoot it." And I'm like, "I can't." He's like, "Why not?" I said, "I can't stop shaking." So I didn't, and they all ran off. Well, it wasn't 15 minutes later. I guess they went up here and talked to another deer and turned around and come right back and stopped again. And I just couldn't get over it. Like, I was just eat up, and then I was just like, I can't do it. So I didn't kill. I had an opportunity to kill a deer my very first outing in the woods, and it just ate me up, the buck fever. And there wasn't even a buck. It was all does. So it's been so long since I've put crosshairs on a rack deer that I imagine it'll just start all over. And I'll, as big and mean as I feel like I am, sometimes I'll probably get the shakes, and that'll be okay, I guess. I'm sure at 34, I'll probably get laughed at a little bit more for missing for buck fever, but it is what it is, I guess. But
one of the first deers that Cody shot at, I'll never. It's still in my mind. I'd see it right now. We was hunting at Kennedy Smithsbury, and I had him right beside me. There's a spike come up through there, and it got in there real close. I said, "Son, can you shoot him?" He said, "Yeah."
Was this bow or a gun?
That's bow.
Okay.
And he drew his bow back, and just as he got it back, he shot, and his arrow just stuck up in a little tree about 4 inches in diameter.
It was a perfect deadline. It was just in front of it.
Well, those happen. I've got a few stuck in trees and this and that.
That's just little memories that you'll always remember. And I asked him, I looked at him, I said, "Son, what happened?"
That tree jumped out in front of me, Dad. Yeah. Have you, as many times as you've shot a bow, have you ever slapped your forearm with a string?
When I first started, then I learned how to hold my grip.
Do you remember me coming in your shop? I don't know if you do or not, but I come in and I was ready to quit. I was bruised. When I first saw it, I thought something was wrong, because you know how it hits. Yeah. It literally immediately just looked like a wave come out into and I was like, something ain't right. And I was okay. I don't want to do this no more. And then you showed me how to, you basically taught me back down. And then I think I had a little Realtree made a sock thing that was really to just, like, if you had a big jacket on or something, it was supposed to help it. Yeah. But I've still got that thing, and I've used it just to. I would probably have to almost say I might need to get that back out if I get a bow.
Well, there's a guy come in the shop. Was yesterday, Hudson?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday, wasn't it? And he had a bruised place on his arm 4 inches long. And I showed him how to hold his bow, and he shot it 4 or 5 times, didn't hit his arm again.
But really, I'm like this now, and the bow's pointed out like this. No, straighten out. No, I don't want to. It's going to slap me, and I don't. That was some of the quickest, worst pain, because it was just. And heck, hurt. I don't know if a 80-pound pullback would hurt worse than a 50, but I imagine it probably would, and I didn't like it. I'm sure I was probably at 45 or 50 when I was, then. I probably ain't much more now, but still. Well, what about, once you become a pro, you have won the top. Did it lead to any new adventures? Was you able to maybe go on a hunt or some kind of trip or meet somebody that you didn't think you would get to meet or get to do just by being just an average shooter?
Well, what it was, actually, before I won the world and stuff, I shot with all these people in ahead of time. So, I knew
You'd already knew everybody.
Yeah, I already knew everybody, and just happened to be my day, and that's it just worked out good for me.
Well, let me pour a little salt on Cody's wound here. There's 2 black bears in the shop hanging up.
Yes.
And I think if I remember right, we hadn't talked about this in a while. So tell him I didn't ask questions the other day when I was in the shop. But if I remember correctly, you invited him on that hunt.
Well, Randy McPherson, which is Matt's brother.
Okay.
He came down the same time and hunted with Dad. And for some reason or other, he just kind of fell in love with me. And so, yeah, I'm kind of got daddy on that hunt. But on the way, I'll never forget it. On the way up there, we're in the plane. My dad's sitting there going, "Now, son, don't shoot the first bear you see." "Okay, Dad, I won't." He says, "We got all week. Ain't no need to be in no rush."
Patience.
So we get there. We fly into Wisconsin. Then we get in an automobile and drive on up into Canada. We're sitting there. And we're getting ready to go to bed. And the next morning we get up. And we didn't hunt in the mornings. We hunted in the afternoons. So in the mornings, we'd go out fishing. And we get off the boat, and they said, "All right, now, probably this guides are telling us we're going to see some good bears. Just be patient." So, they dropped me off, and then Dad and then the guide, they go on down the road. So I'm sitting there, and I have a couple bears come in. I'm thinking, that's a decent bear, but Dad, don't shoot the first one.
Yeah.
So we get back to camp, and Daddy's got this big grin on his face. I knew then. I was like,
he doesn't kill one.
"What'd you do?" "Well, son, listen. I was sitting there. This bear comes in, and he knocks the barrel over, and I'm looking at him. He says, 'Now, that's a good bear.' And he said, another bear come in, he run him off."
Oh, he's dominant.
Yeah, that's the dominant. He said, but then he come over there to the tree, and he reared up. He said, "I could almost touch his nose." He said, then he went back over the barrel. He said, "I got to shoot him."
Yeah, he tempted me now.
He went ahead and took him out. So the rest of the week that we were there, I got Dad to sit beside me and go, "I wouldn't shoot that one there."
So what I'm understanding, and everybody don't know this, but the smaller bear is Cody's.
Mine. Yes.
Cody's.
I had a cinnamon bear that was bigger than his bear, but there was I'll get his defense, there was a black bear that was bigger than the cinnamon that was in on the bait. But he's like, "Son, just give it time." And he just sat out there and just popped, just his teeth just popped.
He knew exactly what it was. He said, I messed up and shot mine on the first day. So now for me to win this battle, Cody, don't shoot that one.
And mine was the last day, the last minute.
You literally waited like you were the game plan.
Yeah. But no, he did. He did the first one that come in on him. He popped him. It was kind of funny.
And these were bow kills, right?
Yeah, they were bow kills. And the guide wasn't really expecting Dad to shoot the first day. So he comes in there, and he's like, "Well, having a luck, guy?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I shot one." "Really?" And he's just laying right there. And it kind of, like, "Hey, you could give me heads up."
Yeah.
I had a bear laying here on the way in, but
yeah, I didn't know that part, but I do like it. It's actually a little more entertaining knowing that you kind of coached him into shooting the smaller bear after your original plan didn't work.
The bear that when the cinnamon bear was in there was a humongous bear that was behind him. And I thought the humongous bear would finally walk up and give us a shot, but the only thing he gave us was ditch his head. And we kept waiting. And I think the bear smelled us, or he knew something was wrong, and he turned around and got back in behind us. And they can pop their teeth. It's unreal how loud they can pop their teeth. And he just made a circle around and got down next to the water. And then the big cinnamon bear, he left and went with him. So Cody, he didn't get the big black bear.
Daddy's fault.
Yeah.
I said, hey.
But
It is a cool story though that y'all got to go and both come back with a pretty sweet.
We've had some. That's my childhood is growing up is hunting. And even tournaments. Lord blessed us enough that when I started 12, actually shooting the big major tournaments.
Yeah.
We went from Florida to New York to Colorado, so I got to travel and see a lot being young.
Right.
And then I got to go on those hunts and stuff. And hunting with Dad, I don't know. He said he would put you on the hottest spot, and he'd go over and climb up a telephone pole. And, of course, the deer go right over there to Daddy and he'd shoot it. Me and Mom, we would be like, well, we know what's going on here. But
I don't know if you did. I got the privilege to get to go hunting with you one time in Collinsville at that club you had. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Neither one of us had luck that day, so I may be his bad luck. Maybe we can all three go and it a counter to where you get the
I know where we got to go. We got to go to Kentucky. There's one place in this world that I know of that can beat my dad, and that's Kentucky. We've hunted it twice before we get to go to Kansas, and he's hunted it 2 weeks and has never seen a deer out of his tree stand.
That's the only place in Kentucky where there ain't deer. There ain't deer right there in that whole spot of Kentucky. What about and I'm a big turkey hunter. I've got my little turkey shirt on. I know you've killed some turkeys. Have you killed some turkeys?
The first turkey I ever killed was with a bow.
With a bow? Yours with a bow as well?
Yeah.
Was that with just like a regular broadhead, or did y'all use that guillotine type?
No, I never did use the guillotine. I always shot
with the vortex.
The
vortex.
vortex.
It was 2.5.
Yeah.
It's two-bladed.
Yeah, okay. Well, I never personally liked watching the hunts with the guillotines. I don't know. There's a soft spot still in me where I'm okay with hunting and killing, but some things are a little too far in my opinion, and cutting his head smooth off is one of them. But is that a pretty challenging hunt as far as, because I know they see really well. I mean, I'm only on
with
3.
With a bow and arrow, turkey hunting, unless you're in a blind, if you're just sitting out there like you gun hunting stuff, a turkey is the hardest animal that I've ever hunted.
Well, I love the challenge of turkey hunting for the fact that you've got to basically sound what they like, the sound that they want. They want you to sound like you're the most beautiful hen in the world or whatever. And I try to, and I like to think that I'm a great turkey caller because I've killed 3 or 4 turkeys, and I've caught 1 or 2 in for so-and-so. But, I like the fact that, did y'all turkey hunt together with bows? Okay. Well, me and my dad, and this is, I'm not in any way knocking my dad. Our hobbies are not like this. And I love that y'all's hobbies, y'all have the same love for this. But he grew up different. Real quick they were poor, and he had to work from the time he could, whatever, till he's still working like a barred mule probably right now. But I think he was actually flagging traffic for this wreck down the road a while ago. I left him out there so I could come be on the show. But me and him didn't get to hunt together because he didn't get to hunt as a kid. It was just something that wasn't something he could do. Papa was too busy, or they were, like I said, working. So when I came along and started liking things, obviously we played ball together. He tore his rotator cuff throwing football and baseball to me, and I loved it. Like I still play because I love it. I took a little bit of time off because of the new baby, but I'm wanting to get Dad into turkey hunting. And I'm hoping that maybe, because after I graduated, we don't play ball no more. Me and him ain't, hey, Dad, you want to come over and throw ball? I know I'm 34 and you're in your 50s now. You want to come throw football? But I'm hoping now, because he don't like being cold. So and honestly, I don't like it anymore either. I don't, if it's too cold and I get a picture of that big deer on the green field at 7:30 in the morning and it's 20 degrees outside and I'm in my bed, I'm probably not going to be upset because I'm in bed. But if I get a picture of a turkey with 1.5 inch spurs and I just got lazy and didn't go, I'm gonna be a little more upset. But I'm hoping I got in this club that so I can take him and I can take my daughter, and I don't care if I even kill one. I just want them to. I want them to kill one. You know. I don't know how I got off on turkey hunting when we were talking about bows, but that's I do like the fact that y'all got your whole family involved and you were able to be successful and not have to do things different to where Cody couldn't love the sport, where Hudson couldn't love the sport. Your daughters, they used to shoot some, didn't they?
They shot a little bit. Jayla, my oldest one, she's more of the, I guess you say, tomboyish.
Okay.
She'll do it. Now, Sarah, she'll go just because, hey, I want to spend time with Dad. And then Hudson came along, and Hudson's like, I'm to the point now where I'm not as mad at him. So I'm kind of like you. If I don't want to get up, I'm not going to get up. Hudson's beating on the bedroom door. Like, why are we not dressed?
I thought we were going.
Yeah, it's time to go. But
so you do like hunting as well as just shooting?
Oh, I love hunting.
Do you just deer hunting, or you like everything?
We mainly deer hunt right now. Turkey hunting's during the tournament season, so it's a little bit. I don't want to give my tournaments to go hunting. I'm a little bit different on that spectrum. But.
Well, luckily, the best part of being self-employed for me. That's why you don't need to go to NASA. I'm just kidding. But like we had my kid, and so I took some time off. And my guys, they work pretty steady, and they do good, and this and that. But like this past week, I probably should have been at work, but I've been trying to not micromanage, and then I'm also trying to see how flexible I can be and how far I can get. They don't know that yet. I haven't told them my game plan, but it's like, hey, if I want to take off on a Tuesday and go shoot something, I can, and I ain't got to worry about it. You ain't gonna miss no tournament on a Tuesday. Look, I'm giving him bad advice probably, but I used to deer hunt nonstop, and then I started duck hunting, and then the ducks, we killed them all. That's forever. We killed for 10 years. We was wearing them out, and then somebody's like, "Well, I think they've lost their way." I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like, we've killed all the old ducks, and these new ones, they don't. Their cell phones ain't synced up. They don't know which way to fly. Somebody Snapchatted them a picture of a nice island in the Bahamas, and they're off course. They ain't coming to Alabama to get to the Bahamas anymore. They're going to the Carolinas and then going down. But now I don't. But I do want to. I want to get back in the archery, and if nothing else, just I wouldn't mind shooting little BHA tournaments again. Having a good time with that. But I want to ask this: the new bows that's out right now, they look like they can almost be really quickly modified into a tournament bow. Just
they can. But now they also make tournament bows,
right?
But now, like Cody, he was shooting a tournament bow, and he liked that
the lift.
The lifts.
The 33 lift X to me shoots better than the title, which is
it just fit him good. He just liked the way the bow felt and fit it good, and he had more peace of mind with it.
So that's what you're shooting basically all the time.
Now Hudson, he's shooting
the title 36.
The title, yeah.
Cody gave it to me.
That one sounds a little expensive.
It is. It's one of those I begged Daddy to order for me, and then when I got it in, I really couldn't shoot it. Then I couldn't say, well, I really don't like it. So I just passed it down to Hudson, and that was another story.
And it's working out?
Yeah, between me and him and Mom, it's like, you couldn't shoot that bow. What makes you think he can? Or you wanting to beat him that bad that you're giving him a bow that
you're going to give him a terrible bow or whatever. But good news is, if you're winning, it was not the bow's fault. Yeah. So, I mean, you can look at it like that, but like, I'm just better than you already. I mean, I'm out shooting you with a bow you couldn't shoot. Look at me.
Well, it fits Hudson better than it did Cody. And, the feel of anything, and you can't have anything in your mind negative if you want to win.
Right. If you go in already upset with your grip or something, you're like...
It's like going and asking Dad which bow he liked. The MQ1 was my favorite bow. That's the one I won most of my tournament stuff with. So it was like, that's my bow until they come out with the Phase 4, which was the closest thing to me the way it shot And then this year when they come out with the Lift X, which I know is basically the same bow as the Lift,
Yeah.
but it just seemed like that bow took
Fits you
favor
better.
over the Phase 4
Well,
to me.
is the Lift X what I shot the other day?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Boy, that was a smooth bow. That was pretty cool. Do you remember, like, my celebrity idol, like Michael Waddell? Like, I come in there, I wanted all Realtree, everything. I shopped Realtree clothing. I bought, if he had it in Realtree, and I still, the other day, when I bought Everly those pants for turkey season, it's like, if they're Mossy Oak, I'm not buying them. And it's nothing against Mossy Oak. It's just when I grew up, Larry was my archery guy, and I'm pretty sure you probably cussed one time when I walked in. I was like, "You got any Hoyts?" Michael Waddell shoots a Hoyt. And I don't know about these Matthews. I never heard of them. I didn't think I need a Hoyt. And you're like, no, you know, you probably was like, I'm not about to run you to Mountain Burr or wherever where they do sell Hoyts, but let's sit down here and let's talk some sense into you. This is what you need. But I followed Waddell hard, and then I found out I don't think he's even with Realtree anymore, and I cried a little bit the other day.
Well, your Hoyt bows, they are very good bows. They are very good bows, but they've got so expensive nowadays that it's hard to handle so many bows.
Right.
And you know, I don't have the money to handle a lot of bows.
Yeah. Well,
and Matthews, over the years, they've been so good to me.
You can't, in my opinion, you can't bite the hand that feeds you, and you may not be shooting professionally for Matthews no more, but it seems like if you was able to feed your family, pay your bills, and Matthews was that main reason, then I think that's somebody you just they love you. I mean, they if they're willing to do all that, and I know the shop was making money too, but they probably had a big part of all of it. I would think. Yes. So
Matt McPherson, he is a really, really good man, and he's always treated me real nice.
Does he still live in Wisconsin?
Yes.
Does he still shoot?
Yes.
Is he older or younger, same age as you?
He's a little younger now.
A little younger than you. Well, let me ask about one man. I know we're trying to get ready to wrap things up, but there's a man in Blount County that if I can work on getting him up here, we might have to do the Odell part 2. But what about Danny Hill? You got anything good to say about him? I've heard a lot. You know, my wife and Danny were next door neighbors when she grew up. So
well, Danny, I've known Danny for years, and I've always respected Danny, and I've always thought a lot of Danny.
Well, I've heard everybody, Danny, you know, and then I met him and I was like, you know, he's like, from what I know a lot of the Hill family, his cousins, and they're a special group of people. They're good at everything. If they want to build a house, they probably can. If they want to tear down a motor to a drag racing car, Danny can. He raced. I don't know. Did you know that part about it?
I didn't know that.
He used to, as far as I know, he used to like drag race back, like almost maybe professionally. I mean, he was something pretty big from what the stories I've heard. But I told Brandy, I said, do you think if we could get Danny up here and Larry at the same time, you think they would have some stories to tell? So I am gonna, if that's something we can do, I want to try to do that one day. It probably won't be too soon. It may be the first of the year in the spring, but I thought, man, I know Danny's got some stories, and you walk in his garage and he's got caribou and elk, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's got some cool stories as to how he come about getting on those hunts and this and that. But is there a hunt that you haven't got to go on that would have been like a dream hunt with a bow for you?
Well, not really. I went on an elk hunt, and I really loved that. And if I'd done anything any different, I would have probably elk hunted a little more. Yeah.
Well, for me, I back when I was a kid, Waddell had the Realtree Road Trip show. That was what was big, and I still got some over there, but the discs are so scratched up. I was trying to find them online the other day, but I guess it's just they're hard to find. But he went on, like, he flew in a plane, and then they flew in a smaller plane to another place, and then they got on horses, and they went back into this camp, and they were hunting moose on horseback, and it was just snow everywhere. Like, I mean, you're sleeping in a little tent, and there's snow everywhere, and I'm like, that's crazy, but and this is crazy, and I don't like being cold, but I want to do that moose hunt. I want to go bow hunting for moose in that crazy snow right there, and just to be able to be that close to an animal that size and have the possibility of taking it down with a bow would just be, I think, a very cool hunt, and just a whole encounter would be a fun experience. And I probably won't never have enough money to do it, and I might get too old and can't pull it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to pull back more than 70 pounds to take it down. So I'm gonna have to hit the gym a little bit probably, but that would be a cool hunt that I would personally like to go on.
Talking about them boys, old Travis.
Yeah, you shot with him a lot.
I shot him a lot, and he was always laughing, cutting up. You never seen him in a bad mood.
Yeah, T-Bone.
T-Bone, and every time you'd meet him, he was the same person. He was just always laughing, cutting up, and having fun, and I really like T-Bone.
Well, I seen a picture the other day, and he lost part of his leg. I think he had gotten hurt maybe in a hunting trip, fell or something, and it got infected. I don't remember the full details, but man, I just hate that for him because I know he was such a big. I don't know how much he's able to do now because of that, and he's a pretty big guy, but seeing him out there with that little and that. I just saw photos of it, but he had a smile in every picture I saw, and just looked to be having a great time, knowing that he was just there. He wasn't really getting to do anything. He was just watching, and I thought T-Bone has always been a class guy.
You never seen him that he wasn't laughing and cutting up. I mean, that was just his life, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, did you shoot against all three of those guys, Nick and Michael and all of them?
I just Travis.
Just Travis?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's won a lot too, hasn't he?
Yeah. Travis is a good person.
I think out of their little group, as far as the archery world, I think they talked about him being basically the best of the best. So,
well, they're all pretty good.
Oh yeah, got to be. You can't be that high and not be on my level and have that. But yeah, I remember like Buckmasters. I think monster bucks. They would shoot. They would put a steel target over their deer and then just have a little bitty opening, and it would be like 80-yard shot, and Travis would be like the only one that would ring that little bit of spot. You'd hear that metal boom when they'd miss, and that would always be a pretty cool little shoot, I thought. But when you shot at the ASA and the IBO, I'm almost done. What's the longest distance of a shot?
Well, when I first started shooting the IBOs, you allowed to shoot a target up to 70 yards or 80. And then after a few years, they brought it down to 3% of 50. So in other words, that'll be about 53 yards. And the ASAs has always been about 50.
Okay.
Max.
See, I could handle a 50. I always thought, if I need to, rainbow one out there, I can. It's according to how big he is or how far that target is. But I don't think I've ever really shot over a 50-yard target.
The ASAs, they've got a 12 ring that's about the size of a $50 on a deer. And then if you go to the turkey, and I think they've changed it in the last couple of years. I hadn't shot. But on the turkey, the 12 ring is about the size of a dime.
That's
if you hit the 12 ring, you got 12 points.
Right.
If you stayed in just a regular circle, you got 10.
That's bonus, right? The 12 ring kind of a bonus ring.
And
yeah.
Then they came out with a 14 ring.
Oh, see, I'm out of the loop. I didn't know there was a 14
ring.
ring.
The 14 ring is high up in the
how long?
And I mean, if you hit it just that much high, you've got a 5.
Oh! So you're taking that chance with aiming for that 14.
Yeah.
Well, what? And you might not want anybody to know this, but with him getting possibly ready to say, "Hey, the shop's going to be yours," is that going to be a full-time thing? Are you going to keep working your day job?
It's didn't talk right now. The hours probably will have to change some. I still have a few more years with mud before I can retire myself.
Right.
I've invested this
you
much.
You got to stay. Yeah. So I wasn't sure about how
the
far
hours. The hours may change. My wife's a little bit closer to retirement than I am.
Okay.
So she may open the shop earlier.
Mama's got to teach a lot, don't you? What I was told, Larry, I don't know who told me this. It might have been Cody. It might have been just me making something up. But he wasn't probably going to need you as much as he's going to need Wavon. Does that sound about right? I mean, yeah. she runs it, right? Yeah. Look, I'm going to tell on her. She might get mad, but when I'd come over there, Larry'd be like, how much is that? Oh, we'll do it for.
Oh yeah,
we'll do. And I'd get over there, and I was pretty timid, you know. I didn't want to, you know, disrespect or anything like that. And then she'd write that, you know, whatever the price was down. She'd write it down, and I wouldn't say nothing. Larry, but oh no, I told him. And she said there'd be times she'd be so mad at him for being like, I mean, he comes in here every day, Larry. You know, he's in here every day getting $5 knocked off every day.
Well, you know, I done found out I ain't gonna get rich. So, you know, in a small business like I've got, you have to treat your customers really well.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't treat them really well and they go somewhere else, you've lost that customer.
Well, that's, you know, I remember I wanted to like apprentice under you. And it seems like you've got some apprentices now, and then a master right here. But it just didn't really work out, and I really didn't. I don't know if I ever really asked you. I don't think I did, because I think I felt like it would be, you know, overstepping, and I didn't want you to think that I was going to try to open up a business 2 miles down the road and try to put you out. But like I wanted one. I loved the whole idea of an outdoor shop. I'm like, that's what I want. Like I even had a name for it at one time. I don't remember what it was, but it was like Swamp Ducks Outdoors or something, you know. I mean, I think that's where I was when I was younger. But I was gonna try to sell some duck decoys and this and that. But you've been able to prove to all of us that archery is loved by many.
Yeah.
And you treat nobody here. I mean, Roney, Alabama is where we're at, everybody. His shop is 2 miles from right here.
Maybe 2 miles.
Just almost hit it with a rock. If the trees wasn't there, you could see it. But it's outside of Boaz, Alabama. It is small. We ain't got nobody here. But people come from miles and miles away to Larry's shop because of, and this is my opinion, but I think probably everybody agree, because of the way he treats him and Wavon treat their customers, because of the knowledge he has for not only the pro tips he gives, but for the love of the outdoors in general, as far as shooting at a target or shooting at an animal. And I think that's a great statement. I think you should feel proud of who you are. I think all of y'all should be proud of yourselves, because not many small community businesses would last 37 years. And then obviously we're going to keep going. You know, it's not when Larry's retiring, we're closing down. No, people are going to be mad if you retire right now, knowing you've done your job, you've done the work, you've put in countless hours. Like right now, you need to be working on bows. You've already told me y'all are. It's coming. It's what, a month away, less than a month, and there's bows over there. There's probably people, if they know where you're at right now, they'd be ready to slap me or skin me alive, because I got all three of y'all over here with me. But I mean, I think that's a true testament as what kind of person you and your whole family are, and I think it's awesome. I'm proud of you. I don't know how much money I spent over there, but I'm gonna spend some more, you know, before long. So I think it's awesome. Is there anything? We're getting ready to wrap up, but is there anything that I've left off that y'all feel like that's a big accomplishment of each other, or something that I may not know that would be pretty cool? That I don't want to leave nothing out that's important to y'all. Don't.
Well, I would love to say this. I really appreciate all of my customers. And I've had customers that's been with me ever since the first day that I opened my shop. And customers like that, you got to appreciate them. And, you know, if I have to give them a little break or something like that, you know, I'm tickled to.
Right.
And I had one guy to come in. It was yesterday, and he's always been a super, super good customer. And he wanted a pack of broadheads, and he laid them up there, and he said, "Well, you want me to? What you gonna do here?" I said, "I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give them to you for your birthday." He said, "Well, it ain't my birthday." I said, "Well, when is your birthday?" And I said, "I'm giving them to you." He said, "No, I ain't going to let you do it." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what you do." And I'm bad to tell people this. I said, "I'll tell you what you do. I drank Diet Grape Cola."
Yeah.
I said, "Bring me a Diet Grape Cola, and then that way you won't have to worry."
That way it won't be on you. Well, I used to be a little bit like that. And I told you I'm trying to wrap it up, but I think no good deed goes unpunished. Kind of, I feel like that a lot. And I've got some trucks and I've had equipment over the years. And if you got stuck or had a tree you needed cut, and then you got, what about that small one? I would either just do the small one for free, or if, you needed me to pull you out. I accept it. I love the challenge of using the winch on that truck sitting right up there. It just really, I like to see how far I can go. But it got to be a point where something bad was happening, like within 48 hours. It would be like, oh, God. So I would help somebody out, and then I'd be like, well, I'll probably be dead tomorrow. So a friend of mine said, I went and he borrowed his boss's skid steer and then almost flipped it. And I was like, ooh, you got that in a bind. Well, I pulled it out, and he said, what I owe you? And I said, $20. And he looked at me, and he's like, no. He said, it'd been $150 or better for a wrecker, to come do it. And I said, I come out here because I wanted to do it. I said, if you want to pay me, it's going to be $20. I said, that's it. I said, I'll take $20 because if not, I'll probably get killed on the way home in a car wreck because of this good deed. So just give me the $20. I'm good with it, and we'll go on. He's like, well, all right, whatever you say. So that's how I've treated. Back when I was doing tree work, I tried to treat my customers the same way because I like to repeat business, And I had some basically the whole duration, but I didn't do tree work for 37 years. So. But I do think that's awesome. I'm proud for the success you've had. I'm proud that you've allowed me to be in your life and mentor me. I'm super glad that Cody's coming back. I'm probably more proud that I always beat him in softball.
Yeah.
Softball.
And Hudson, I wish whichever route you want to go, I'm proud because NASA sounds pretty intense. And I don't know I just heard you mention it earlier, so I don't even know if that's something you really want to pursue, but it sounds like you've got some realistic dreams that can be pretty big, whether it's shooting bows or being some kind of engineer at a big time program. And I think you'll be successful in either direction you go. If you want to go in both directions, I think you can and will be successful. But I hope nothing but the best for everybody here. I'm looking forward to raising my kids up, continuing the tradition of coming to Odell's Outdoor Archery, and I'm going to instill in my kids that they know the phone number. That's a goal. They're going to know that phone number. Whether Larry or Wavon pick up the phone one day or not, they're going to know 3791 is how you can get in touch with an Odell. And I don't know. I guess from as many times as I just pulled in that driveway and seen it on the sign, it just stuck. I'm sure there's a few other people that, I know Larry's phone number too. And then when on your phone the other day, I come home, I said, guess what? And Brandy's like, what is that? I said, Larry had my cell phone number programmed into his cell phone. She's like, okay. I was like, I made the cut. I made the cut. She's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, well, I didn't know he even had my phone number. I mean, I'd have probably texted him or something before, but he's over there. I was trying to help him delete text messages. So I don't know if you even text or not, but I probably would have been texting you the last couple of years if I'd have known that.
I can text a little, but Hudson, he's my main man on the phone.
You ain't downloaded Snapchat on Larry's phone, have you?
He did talk Dad into getting Facebook. And
you got Facebook?
Odell's Outdoor Archery does have Facebook.
So that's Larry on that.
Well, it's not that. We run it, but
But
It's
but
for
it,
shot,
he,
yeah.
he gave you the blessing.
He give us the permission to do
Okay, well, I think we're friends.
Yeah.
Brandy, I
Yeah.
use Brandy's Facebook a lot. So, but yeah, that's cool. Don't get him on Snapchat.
I won't. I promise you that.
I tell you what, I can see Larry over there right now with Bo over there with that big black bear he killed, not the one that Cody killed. You know, getting that selfie in it. I killed the bigger one, and it was 20 years ago, but I'm still rubbing it in my son's face.
He was talking about being like the press underneath him. That's honestly one of the hardest things you'll ever do, because I can set a bow up, Daddy can set a bow up, and you cannot tell the difference.
But he ain't gonna like your way.
No, I can set it up, and I'm there. This is when I was younger, having him get caught up where he ain't gonna work up there so late at night. Okay, I've put all my time into it. I've got it all tagged out, hung up, ready to go. What does he do? He walks over there and he gets it, and he looks at it, and he goes over everything that I just did, and then goes over there and shoots it again. I'm like, well, you don't need me being here.
Well,
Now it's kind of reverse plays a little bit as he's got a little bit older now. He's kind of coming to me and going, hey, can you go ahead and put this on there for me? My eyes are not just quite as good as they used to be.
Right. I remember him telling me several times, these eyes ain't what they used to be. But it was it yesterday I was there?
Yeah.
And somebody come in, and I think it was a loop or something that needed retied or something. And you said, well, who tied it? And he said, I think it was your son. He said, yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know. I might have stretched that story a little bit, but
he went over everything, and he still does it a little bit today, but not as much.
Well, that's because for all those years, it's because that's what fed you and Shannon.
And another thing too, I can't draw these high pound bow back no more.
That's the only reason you need him, really, ain't it?
Yeah.
Hey, pull this back, make sure it's paper tuned right.
I just letting Hudson know for in the future is not that I just think got confidence in him. It's just
it's who we are. It's the Odells that's going to definitely come through and.
It's just built into us.
Well,
He does it to me now. I mean,
when I worked for Alabama Power for 5 years, and I worked for ALDOT before that on the traffic control side. Like I went through all the traffic control, how you put a cone out, what the distance is, and this and that. And as a low man, I'm the one that puts the cones out on the trucks when we hit on the side of the roads. And I'd get out and I'm kind of picky about my cones because I've been trained, Well, then my lineman would get out, and he'd move that cone 6 inches or 4 inches. I mean, it would, and I'm like, now it's driving me insane. But it's like I didn't do it good enough for him. But then it's like, really, he's not even been to the training I've been to. So I'd go back over there and I'd kick it back over. I can't handle it like that. So, but yeah, it's just once you feel like, you're qualified to know everything about this, and you've been taught, or you've just, I guess you mainly just learned most of it by just shooting, I guess, all the time.
Yeah.
We probably should have got on that, but that's.
Well, back when I was younger, if you went anywhere and bought a bow, they just hand you the bow and put a little brass knock on it and hand it to you.
I remember the brass knocks on that.
They wouldn't even touch it as far as setting it up or anything.
I think I had a brass knock and then that was it on that little Jennings, and then you fixed it up for me. And I don't know I don't think it had a loop, but it had a whisker biscuit. And firm believer in the whisker biscuit. I mean, goodness gracious. Cody said, no, I ain't gonna do that. That's for CC.
They are. I'm getting a little better at it. It's just like.
But I moved on, and I got that other bow, and I went to a drop away. And I was just terrified. Like, how many times am I going to drop this there? But I feel like I perfected it. And if I buy a bow right now, I'm going to put a drop away rest on it. And which, number one, I couldn't do a whisker biscuit if I really wanted to. I could hear everybody just making fun of me for that. But yeah. He's over here shooting in the bow hunter B class with a whisker biscuit.
Well, the main thing about archery is have fun.
Yeah.
Have a lot of fun.
And it sounds like in the groups that I shot with back when I was shooting, and the groups that y'all are still shooting with, sounds like it's still a fun but competitive group. And that is what it's about. Is we're not out here fighting each other after Levi wins or whatever. But I archery is always been a tight group, and I like that, and I hope it continues. And maybe one day my kids will be shooting, but if not, I don't know. I guess I'll watch Hudson. I don't know.
Like Hudson, you're talking about. He came up and shot in the men's class. It's today, for some reason or other, it seems like they're pushing more for the known shooting than the unknown. Unknown. That's the only way the rangefinders is like, I don't know, it's sin.
You can't use rangefinders now, can you?
Yes, in most of the tournaments, like his class in the youth, there's no unknown classes. So, like me and Dad, the way we were brought up in the archery, it's kind of a dying breed because all the younger ones are using rangefinders.
I didn't know that. See, I straight up had to learn my yardages. Like I would go and I would place sticks. I would count it off, and then I would focus on that stick, and then I would turn to where I couldn't see that stick, and I would try to maintain. And I felt like I'd gotten pretty good at it, but now, gosh, like I said, I'm blind after I hit 30, and so I'd have to start all over. I don't even trust my rangefinder, just to be honest with you, nowadays. But my rangefinder is probably as old as Hudson is. So,
well, that's how if you go in the youth classes, that's the reason I moved up was that, and when you start shooting, and the only thing you're shooting is known archery, and then the pro classes they're shooting unknown. There ain't no point in doing it.
No, I don't think you need. I would never. I wouldn't want to teach my kids. I would want her to start or him to start the same way. If you're shooting a tournament, you're the judge. You tell me how far it is, and then you figure it out.
It was like this weekend or coming weekend, he's going to shoot a world archery tournament, which is in steel, but it's basically dot shooting outside 55 yards, 50 meters. I've never been in that field, so I've had to go back. Okay. I've called the guy that's running. It's like, hey, he can only shoot 60 pounds, no light. And, okay, well, it says on there, no long stabilizers. Well, that's in a different category. But it's a new tournament circuit that we're going to pick up because that's more so in the college field that he wants to go into.
Does you go to Albertville?
Yes, sir.
So do they have an actual archery program other than like the little Genesis bows?
They don't even have Genesis
They don't even have
bows.
that.
So they used to, and then the ag team just kind of got rid of it. And they actually threw all the bows away. Oh and God. Well, it's all right. I got them out of the dumpster. But
I saved them.
Yeah, you got to. That's like throwing away your life right there.
I'd like it how we do it a whole lot better.
Those bows wasn't really nothing. Well, but I did get Crossville's very first team I was part of. I'm sorry for saying Crossville, but that's who we are.
We are.
We didn't have a class. We just shot tournaments in 2 weeks, and then we just shoot after school for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I've been shooting a hunting bow, and now I've got to learn how to shoot a little bow like this, but no sights, no nothing, and you're just shooting at that target. And our first year, I was high scorer for Crossville, and I think I was like 23rd in the state in the boys or men's or whatever, kids, I guess, but boys. And I felt like I was on top of the world. I did. I was like, man, I got 23rd in the state, and this was our first year to even shoot these. And so I felt like I've always had a little bit of an archery gift. I would love to hurry up and get back in it and maybe come over there and shoot against y'all and just see how far behind I really am. But maybe it won't take me long to catch up. I'll get there sometime. I gotta get back in that hobby, and the podcast maybe will like I said, make $5 a sponsor. I think Odell's Outdoor Archery's donating $10 this episode. I'm just kidding. But anyway, we've been here for an hour and 30 minutes, and I know that's probably $500,000 that y'all hadn't made in this hour and 30 minutes.
Not hardly that much.
not hardly that much. But anyways, well, I'll get ready to wrap it up. Anything else, y'all?
I just enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it? It's been an honor. Yep. I know my co-host is back there behind the camera today. That's Blake King. just to tell, this is, like I said, episode 001 of the Grind and the Good Times podcast. And me and Blake grew up together, but we kind of grew up different. Like he hasn't been more of the outdoor hunting and fishing type, and I did, but he did grow up, doing crazy things like we did. I mean, we've done, me and him almost died a few years ago, or in 2005 is when it was. You know that? So in March of 05, and the Christmas of 04, I got a four-wheeler for Christmas. And then March rolls around, and my dad was the pastor where Blake's parents went to church at, and that's how we all met. But Dad had resigned from that church, and we'd started going to another one. And my best friend, Blake, and his brother went, were being left behind, I felt like. And at the time, my girlfriend was at that same church, and Mom was having a Pampered Chef party. Do y'all remember those? I mean, the ladies in the South thought those were the greatest. Well, I was excited because she invited Blake's mom and my girlfriend's mom, so I knew all of them were coming. Well, Blake gets there, and we're riding, and Rodney Maroney?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's closing his gate, and Adam's in the truck, and I'm in the hayfield beside him, and I've drove down it 1,000 times. And I hit it, and I gave Blake my helmet, though, before we even started riding. I said, just, if one of us dies, I'd rather it be me than you. So I gave him my helmet. And I go to wave at Rodney. And next thing I know, I'm like, where am I at? And I hit a guy wire coming down from the power pole in that field. And I look up, and Blake's like in front of me, 10 yards. And he's raised up trying to figure out, I'm imagining his brain's going the same way mine is. What just happened? Because neither one of us seen it, I don't think. I mean, you didn't slap me in the head and say there's a guy wire right there. But I'd been down this little trail, on every foiler we ever had. And luckily, neither one of us was killed or hurt too bad, nothing like that. But we could have. So we've grew up doing some dangerous stuff, just not, we didn't shoot bows and shoot each other with bows. And I feel like that might have been where it would have led to if we would have been shooting bows at that age. So that's probably a good thing we didn't have bows around that time of our life. We know Avery and Brennan probably would have just shot each other, just seen which one tried the first or something. But yeah, that's how I asked Blake to kind of be part of the show, just because he could bring out different things, see different things that I didn't see. And he also, his family owns King's Discount Building Supply. Is that Albertville? Albertville and Boaz. They have the Boaz store. So they're it's a family business too. His granddaddy has passed it on kind of somehow to them. I don't know the whole things, but Billy's been a good help to make sure they keep on doing what they're doing, and it's kind of, like y'all right here, y'all are keeping on doing what y'all are doing. So big shout out to King's Discount Building Supply. Big shout out to Larry Odell and Cody and Hudson and Odell's Outdoor Archery. And we'll give Wyvon and Shannon a shout out too. I know they I don't know if they want to sit down and listen to an hour and 40 minutes, but they can fast forward or whatever. And what I do is I just get in the truck and turn it on, and it's just, it takes me about a week to get through a podcast nowadays, but it's been an honor, a privilege to get y'all out here. I hope everybody enjoyed it. This is the Grind and the Good Times. Y'all be safe, be careful, behave. Don't do anything illegal, immoral, unethical, or just plain stupid. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.